Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another fantastic Adobe Live. I'm here with Kladi today. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm super excited to see you guys. What up, Voodoo Val? What up, Wade? What up, Mohammed? How are you guys doing? Welcome. Tell us where you're from in chat. Let us know. It's currently 12 o'clock my time on the West Coast, but I'm sure it's the middle of the night on the other side of the world. And I love seeing you guys. Let us know where you're tuning in from today. But if you are on YouTube, make sure you come over to behance.net/live and come hang out with us real time so we can interact with you, answer your questions. We want to know about you and kind of what you're working on, as well as you get to know Kladi a little bit more. Anyways, with that being said, Kladi, hello.
Hello.
So do you want to just jump into quickly who you are and then kind of what we're going to be working on today?
Yeah, should I just say parakalo?
Ooh, parakalo. We're going to get Greek in here. I love it. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yes, we're gonna get a bit of Greek and Italian. I just gave you like a little bit before starting to talk about Italy right away.
I'm going to try my best to do some Italian, but
Right. So thank you so much. Alex, I'm super excited to be here with you. I think it was long overdue to have a stream together, and I'm very excited to be back here. So thank you so much for having me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kladi, and as we were saying before, I am from the south of Italy. Although right now I'm based in Manchester, UK. That's where I live, and I run my design studio. And here, actually, Alex, is 8 p.m. So I'm already in the evening of the day, and
that's my bedtime.
That's your bedtime.
Yeah.
Lucky you. It's super exciting. I can see someone from Panama. I have a photo actually in my intro for Panama. That's why it just kind of caught my eye. So if we jump into my intro here real quick, it's already in InDesign. And before talking a little bit more about me real quick, I just wanted to say to everybody that is joining that today we're going to be talking about how to create an interactive document, or as we call it, a digital document in InDesign. We're going to be looking at how to set up a workspace so it's ready to work with interactivity and adding buttons, links. So super fun, new way of working, embracing all the digital aspect of a document from the workspace into actually creating a full layout and adding all the different assets. We're going to play with the Creative libraries, bit of Photoshop, tomorrow a little bit of animation, ton of things. I usually get prepped for like a week of work and then time runs out, but hopefully we're going to try to get our document finished and published within a shareable link. So I think that tomorrow already I'm going to give you the link so everybody can actually browse the document and see what we've been up to.
Wow, ambitious. I love
it. Ambitious, yes. See what we get done. And I can also real quick show where I'm from. So I'm from the south of Italy, this beautiful tip of the hill, if you know, Italy shaped like a boot, and it's actually right in front of Greece. So I was saying to Alex, I'm supposed to go to Italy and then next week and then right away jumping into Greece. So I'm going to go and eat the Saganaki for you.
Perfect. Thank you. Send me photos.
I will. And as I said, Panama just kind of caught my eye. I have some photos here of my traveling. I used to love to travel, and hopefully I'm going to get this hobby of mine back in very soon. And a lot of people ask me where I'm from and how do you get to do what you're doing? So I like always to share a little bit of a preview of how crazy life can be. As you can see here, now quite more than 10 years ago, my double life of working at the UN as an assistant delegate and doing graffiti. So I, had a little bit of this marketing and communication PR background, but then I always really embraced keeping my hands dirty and with colors and playing around with graphics. So that's me with these two roles at the UN and then drawing walls and creating graffiti. And the catch is always, either I was going to lose a job or I was getting arrested, and pretty much graphic design saved my life, putting together communication and visuals. So I like to share this story because I think that, following your passions, and it's not been easy to, transition from marketing to design. And I feel that I'm always learning even now, but passion projects and follow what you love, I think it gives you a lot in terms of energy to keep going in producing everything you want to achieve and you want to do in life. Because it gets hard. So passion helps you with determination, I believe. At least that's my belief.
No, I agree completely. And I love the tension between the like graffiti and the UN side of things. Like that contrast, I think, is what makes great creative and great design happen, is, you know, the contrast of the high and low and white and black and all that good stuff. So I love that that's a metaphor for your life as well.
Absolutely. Okay, you throw there like a design principle contrast. Super cool. And that's in fact like one of the first typeface that I designed, coming straight from a wall. I want to say loud and clear, I am not a graffiti artist. There are so many talented real graffiti artists out there. I enjoy to use walls as big sketch surfaces. So I want to make that clear, just because I know that there are so many people out there that are absolutely fantastic, and I had a wonderful opportunity to work with them and paint with them. But as you can see, I kind of sketch on a wall, and then from there I usually go into Illustrator or even into laser cut and create a little bit of a 3D aspect from what I create from a wall. Printmysoul is the business that I launched here in Manchester now, I don't even know, more than 5 years ago, definitely probably 7 by now. That used to be my desk before moving into my house. And those are some of the projects that I work with artists and in the hospitality or fashion industry. And then it comes real quick to my book. I saw the plant, and I can still see it right there behind you, Alex, joining the plant team. I worked on my passion project. Again, I really, really want to stress out, follow your dreams and follow your passions. I create this book, Plant Therapy, which got me an amazing award in 2019. And I got shortlisted for the I don't know how to pronounce it in English. That's absolutely terrible. AOI. I do pronounce it, Alex. Help me. Association of Illustrators.
That sounds good to me.
Yes, I usually pronounce it in Italian, so sometimes it gets really awkward when I pronounce things in English. But anyway, so you know, passion projects always gets you a long way, like playing around and working around the world. And last thing I want to say, if you want to head to iamkladi.com, that's the website where you can find more tutorials. You'll find some resources, and in particular, you're going to jump right into the digital presentation starter file, which is the file that we're going to be creating today. So it's absolutely up to you. You can either follow along. I'm going to start from scratch because that's the beauty of the live learning together. Alex, I don't know, but I always say that I love Adobe Live because it's a safe space to learn. I'm going to be making mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. That's the life. That's the truth.
I love the interaction with chat. Even with some of the greatest ideas I've had actually came from chat. So it wasn't even me. It was other people in chat. So I definitely, if you guys have suggestions or if things are, you know, if we need help, definitely pitch in.
Yes, absolutely. I'm super excited to see what chat is gonna. And I think we have Voodoo Val in chat. So me and Val, Alex, we do very often polls. So yeah. If you feel the need to put something in a poll, like I'm ready.
I'm ready. I've got one for Voodoo Val, just starting it off because chat was already asking about it. When you see those like internet joke things on like Instagram or wherever, and they're kind of like go viral, and they're like spelled M-E-M-E. How do you spell that? Or how do you say that?
Me?
Yeah. Is it? You say
memes? Yeah.
Was it memes?
Memes? I don't know. MMMs? Eminem?
Well, Voodoo Val, I think we need a poll chat. Is it memes? Memes? Memes?
Oh, Eminem.
Let's see how this poll goes. I think it's memes, but we'll just start that off and then we'll get it.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Please, I'm learning already. And by the way, I've seen the link in chat. If you want to get the freebies, head to the freebies page. So it's iamkladi.com/freebies, and you'll see that there is the exact title for this stream. So creating a digital document using InDesign, and you'll get the Get Started file button there. So if you click, you get redirected into a Dropbox link, and you'll be able to open your InDesign file, and boom, you start working right away. Before creating the document, I also want to introduce to the topic of today. I have been commissioned to create this digital document. So I thought, why don't we do this during the stream, share a real workflow for a real client, which is also something that I'm part of. And I'm super, super excited to share with you, which is the Rose meditation method. Now, I am not an expert. I've just started. I'm going to show you. And, while we create a document, we can talk through about this wonderful, wonderful method, which is a very ancient traditional way of practicing yoga and alongside with meditation and breath work. So the topic I think is super amazing. You can go ahead and check them out at the Rose Meditation .club. I'm sure there probably is going to be someone in chat from their side, and I know that they were excited to see me working on their presentation live. So they're there. You'll see they are absolutely amazing people, and this technique really teaches you how to deal with anything in life. And it's very exciting because we're going to go through some of the photos that they share with me, and you'll see all these amazing choreography that they created with these wonderful poses. And even if you just Google the Rose if you go on YouTube and you check the Rose method, you're going to find very, very amazing, yoga positions, but it's all done by strengthening your mind and your body through the breath work. So this is the topic of today. Hopefully everybody gets excited. And let's jump into InDesign. I think it's time to start. And Alex, if you have the result of the poll, I'm always...
Great timing. Voodoo Val just posted it in chat, so I think we're still collecting the results, but I'll keep you informed. But I'm really excited for this project. I think it's going to be great.
Fantastic. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and start by creating a new document, and then we're going to jump into the assets, because I've been extremely lucky. One of the amazing humans that are part of the Rose method, which is Bruno. I don't know if he's in chat, but he was also a designer. So sometimes we have a little bit of creative interactions, and he created, I think, the brand, but at the very least, he delivered to me their branding guidelines. So we're actually going to have a look at how to work with a client that has their things together, which is doesn't happen very often, but it's so beautiful. And if not, don't worry, because there will be a great example for you as a designer to create brand guidelines for your clients. So there is always a learning point. But let's go ahead and head back to the main homepage for InDesign. And here we're going to start by clicking on Create New to open the new document window. And since we're going to be creating a digital document, we know exactly by the name of the output already what is going to be the intent, so the final use of our document. And of course, we're going to select web because we're going to be creating a document for screen. And by doing so, you'll see that very quickly InDesign will change its units into pixels, as again, we're going to be working for a screen. And also, we're going to go ahead and see when we open the document that the color space is going to be in RGB. What we're left to do now is to set the size of our document. If you do scroll down here where it says Fuel Presets, you can click and you can see that there are the most common size for screen right here. And if you click on any of them, they will be automatically applied into the presets details. But in this occasion, I think that the size that I've just clicked, which is the 1024 by 768, is one of the most common one. Although the one that I will be using is the full high definition one, which is also very common nowadays, 1920 by 1080. And by all means, this is something that you might want to ask your clients. So I didn't have any size in particular. This is what I'm deciding to go for in terms of standard, industry standard, full HD, the resolution, but it's completely up to you. Feel free to use, if you already have a brief, or if you want to create a document maybe that is a normal like A4 size, but you just want to share it as an online link or as a digital PDF, feel free to use any other size that you wish. Again, the A4 or the Rector size, if you are based in the US, are already available here in the presets. I'm going to start with 3 pages. And because we're looking to create a digital document, I'm not going to tick facing pages. In terms of margin, I like to keep my margin nice and wide. I just by as we're talking before with Alex, giving a little bit of contrast between the edge of the page and the content. I really think it helps to create a frame, a natural frame to the actual content of the page. And by the way, if you're looking to see what's happening when you set up your document, all you have to do is to click on the preview here at the bottom of the new document window, and you'll see the preview generating live. So we haven't committed to the changes. The document hasn't opened yet, but once we're going to go ahead and start making a change, for example, on the margin, I'm going to start by 100, giving 100 margin, you'll see that the changes will be previewed live. And once we're happy with the size of the document, what we're going to be doing here, since this is a standard, as I say, like an industry standard full HD document size, I'm going to go ahead and name the file, and I'm going to call it FHD, which is full HD size. And I'm going to click on this little button next to the name. This will allow me to save this document as a preset. So by doing so, we can name it here. That will be the actual name of the preset. So full HD, and click on save preset. So any other time that we're going to be having to start and create a similar document for another client, or maybe even for the same client, or creating another one, all you have to do now is to head into the saved presets, and you're going to have your full HD document and margin and number of pages already pretty much done, ready to go. All you got to do is to click on the new presets, and everything will be applied to your details. So all you got to do is to click on create, and your document is opened up.
It's amazing. And I know we're going to just interrupt it real quick with the poll, but I know that whenever you're creating that new preset, if you click the web settings, it automatically is in RGB for you and not CMYK, which the print one would be. Very confusing, especially if you're new to InDesign and you built off your print preset and you made it ready for web. You might be in the wrong color space, and that's why your colors are looking a little funky. You don't want funky colors.
Yes, and on the topic, actually, Alex, which I think is brilliant, I have an InDesign introduction course on LinkedIn. So if you do have access to LinkedIn Learning, make sure to go and check that out. I have a lot of questions regarding the color space, so I'm glad that you brought it up, because when you work in Photoshop, I'm not 100% sure in Illustrator, but I think in Illustrator as well, you got the color space or the color mode within the document. So within the new document panel, then, if you press Command N or Control N, if you're working on Windows, you can bring that panel right back. Mm-hmm. You see that in InDesign, we do not have the color mode specified. So a lot of people, when I mention the color mode, exactly what you say, switching to RGB, are like, oh, is it true? Is it not true? How do I know that? Well, the best way to know that is heading to your swatches panel. So remember, when you're working in pretty much any of the application on your Creative Cloud, all your panel live under the window menu at the very top. So click on the window menu and then head back into color and swatches. And here you're going to be able right away to see that we're going to work in RGB, that the document set up in RGB because we did set the intent for web, exactly what Alex was saying. But the way to check it out is to make sure that that's exactly what's happening, and you set up your document with the right intent, is to open your swatches, and you'll see that there is this icon with the RGB icon, and then also you have all the RGB values of cyan, magenta, yellow, red, green, and blue in your swatches ready to go. But happy to know about the poll.
Okay, so this is, I think, probably one of the closest polls I've ever seen on here. So the three options were memes with a Z, memes with a Z, and ban Alex. And I think that there's a miscount, so I think we might need to do a revote sometime. But memes with the Z is the winner with 38%. Memes comes in second place with tied second place with ban Alex at 31% to both of them. So I think one person's vote really did matter in this. And I think that was Voodoo Val putting the memes over it, which is the wrong pronunciation. So
do you actually know what is the right way?
It's memes, of course.
It's memes. Okay. I'm gonna stick to Eminem.
Eminem, that's even better. Man, you really missed out on putting that on the poll. But
that's that's the thing. Like Alex, when I don't know how to pronounce a lot of words, so like I just kind of make up my own, and I put the S's in the wrong place, and I just kind of go with it.
Yeah, totally. Val goes, "Hey, if you want me to make the polls, you can't be mad about what you get," which is totally fair.
Super exciting. Right. Thank you so much, Val, for the poll. And please,
thank everybody in chat for participating in it. That was fun.
Please feel free to go ahead and interrupt me anytime. I know I talk like a train. That's part of my Italian genome phenotype DNA. So I'm very happy to be interrupted and drink some water as always. It's always good. But before we get started now, so we got our document set up. Let's save it, because that's something that always doesn't get a lot of clicks, usually saving a document. So press Command S in order to save your document, because so far many people, and that's a question that I get really often, when you create a document, everybody thinks that you already saved the document. No, we're just opening a new document, but it is not saved in your machine yet. So in order to save it, shortcut S, Command S, working on a Mac, or Control S if you're working on Windows. And then from here, you're going to have this dialog box. All you have to do is to search your destination and whatever folder you would like to place it in. I'm going to place it on my desktop. I can give it a name. I'm going to call it The Rose, and then Adobe Live. And then I'm going to click on save in order to save the document, making sure that you're saving as an InDesign 2021 document, and click on save. And here it is. Now we know that our document is saved, and this will help also. Although all the amazing apps are super helpful when something happened, the computer shut down, or maybe the apps shut down. Usually it's very easy to find the document that you were working on and to open it up, but having a location where the document is actually physically saved in your machine will definitely help you in these extreme occasions. If you forget to save, or if something happened to your power and you need to bring back the work, it's definitely safer to save right away and to create a location for your file. Right, so before we get started now on creating the document, I want to jump real quick on Behance, because I think that there is a very cool feature on Behance that doesn't get used very often. Let's see, now we're going to probably see ourselves real quick. Yes. Hi. But I'm going to go ahead. Hi, Alex and Kladi. A very cool feature of Behance is the fact that many people use Pinterest, or they use Google, or I personally still use a lot of books to search for inspiration, but also Behance is an amazing place where you can look for fantastic design that you can use in terms of creating mood boards and creating inspiration. So in this case, perhaps what I would like to look for is a media deck.
Have you started to see the new feature where while you're searching for it, it links to the Adobe stock stuff as well? So you can kind of jumpstart some of your creative work. See that second column, or the second row right there, says more on Adobe stock. Those are all assets that you can preview on Adobe stock and then start downloading to add to your account.
I'm lost.
Just that second row. So you got that first row of all that creative work that other people have made.
Creative fields.
So the row of projects. So underneath that.
Project.
No, like literally looking at
yeah. Sorry. I was still looking at the bar. Yeah. More on Adobe stock. Fantastic.
Yeah. So now you can kit bash to your heart's desire and just get work out the door really fast.
That's so cool. And let's actually jump into it. For those of you who don't know what Adobe stock is and is all about, Adobe stock is the wonderful place where you can find templates and so many wonderful assets that you can download and link right away into your libraries. We're going to talk about the libraries in just a second. We're going to jump into the Rose brand guidelines and all the beautiful assets and video that the team has shared with me. But if you do not have a photographer, if you don't have the budget, and maybe if you don't have time, or if you're looking for an illustration and illustration is not your skills, or same with photography, well, stock.adobe.com is the place where you can find all of those. And in fact, if we click under all, you can see all the different categories of assets that you can search: images, videos, audios, template, 3D. And I know that there is music, video, audio, here it is. You can search from some tracks as well, and so much more. Also, when you search, you can use your filters to narrow down more and more your search, and Adobe Stock will right away start to pull the perfect project for you. And then we can just download it, a preview, or save it to the libraries, or of course license it right away here from the website or from our apps. So that was super cool, Alex. Thank you so much for letting me know. That's amazing.
Little sneaky feature that they added, and I love the little update to it.
Super cool. So what I wanted to show here is the power of creating mood boards within your Behance profile. So let's say that, for example, this is a media kit that really caught my eye. I love the shape of the little window. I think that's been really used lately, maybe overused. I don't know. I still like it. I still think that is a very cool way to bring in images. And maybe it's something that I want to just bookmark for my mood board. So all I have to do, I have two ways. Or I can click on save to add the entire project into the mood board. So by clicking on save, all I have to do is to search the mood board. You can create a new mood board. I already have a media kit mood board. So all I have to do is to click on the right mood board and then click on save. Or if you don't want to save the entire project, maybe there is a ton of images and the other one are not really, good for your project. There is just something in particular that you want to keep your mind focused on. You can simply hover on the image and click on the save button that is on the image, and then select the mood board folder that you would like to add it to. And here it is. Then you can go ahead and look at your mood boards. And from here, you'll see all the different projects that I actually saved as a reference for our mood board. This will help you. So usually my workflow is to have some little inspiration. And then I usually have a bit of a larger surface in terms of sketches, but sometimes, like right now, I'm just using these little square notes. So I do a lot of sketches in these little notes. And as you can see, after looking at the mood boards, what I do, I just go ahead and start to design some of the little, I don't know if it's visible here. I'm just gonna put it a little closer, maybe. Yes.
That's amazing.
But I start to do, especially when it's like digital stuff, I just have different pages into different little notebooks. And this is just normal paper. I just like to cut it into smaller squares, and I just start to have a mock-up of my pages. And this is going to help us in just a second. We're going to jump into creating the layout. And if you see this one in particular, is going to be the layout that we're going to be using for our first content page. Here it is. I think we've seen plenty of it. And that's a way of doing your mood boards, your layout. I love to use pencil and to keep it organic. And I think it helps me to look at different things and then just sketch it on a piece of paper. If you want, of course, you can create it with your app as well. I used to use in Illustrator a lot for my sketches also. But now I just kind of, have this idea, especially when it's just a 2 pages or 3 pages document. I tend just to keep it on paper. If it's 20, or I would say even from 8 pages or more, I definitely create a more structured digital file already for my sketches as well. But now that we had a look at some inspiration, it's time to have a look at the assets and starting to bring in the assets. Before doing so, we're going to jump real quick into our CC libraries. And again, if you ever are looking for any panel that you cannot find inside your workspace. So if you hear me talking about any particular panel and you cannot find it, remember, all the panels live under the window menu. So click on window, and then here you'll be able to find your CC libraries. Make sure that it's ticked. If not, just click on it and the CC libraries panel will pop up. I'm going to go ahead and click on a new library, and I'm going to call this library the rows. So in this dedicated library, we can place all the assets that are relative to this project for the rows method. And how do we do that? How do we bring the assets in? As you can see, there are 2 different ways. You can either drag and drop images. So we're going to go ahead into the files that I have on my machine already saved that the lovely Bruno has shared with me. Or you can also, if you have a project which has already have different files, you can also create a folder from a file, which I think is super, super exciting.
And I love that you can add other people to your libraries as well, so that you really do get a nice cross collaboration thing, or makes just handing off things to clients a little bit easier as well.
Absolutely. And that's the little icon here on the top that allows you to invite and share the library. So you'll be able to add people and they can edit or they can simply view. So perhaps if you're working with your clients, maybe you just want to give them the view, unless you have some very proactive, or in this case, like we have the amazing Bruno, who is also a designer. Probably I will grant him the power of edit as well. But I think it's fantastic that you can choose how to manage your invitation in between edit and view. And Alex, I'm loving these like little, please keep sharing with me all these little highlights. Super cool. So this is the little button on the top of the library that will allow you to share it. And what we can do here now is head to my folders, and hopefully I'm organized enough to quickly jump, here it is, into the rows method. And the first thing that I want to share with you, as I mentioned before, are the brand guidelines. So if we head here into the rows branding guidelines, we can see that, again, this is dream life. Doesn't happen very often. Super big props to the Rose team and to Bruno for these guidelines. I don't know about you, Alex, but that doesn't happen very often to have some.
You mean you don't like getting the logo embedded in a PowerPoint presentation and told make something with that? What are you talking about? I had a client once hand me a stack of floppies this tall. I think this was 2010 or something. So
what?
Floppies? They were still on floppies. So
what you're supposed to do is just put it into your hat and just pull a rabbit out of it.
Yeah, I ended up trying to find a floppy drive somewhere and then just trying to get it to hook up to a computer somewhere. And all the photos were from the 80s or early 90s. It was great.
All pixelated and nice. And
yeah, did you have 100, 200 pixels big, it's great.
Open in Paint, only in Paint.
Exactly.
Read only in Paint.
Yeah, I didn't even get admin rights. Yeah.
Right. So going from these two extremes, as I said, I'm very lucky to have the beauty of working with these guidelines. We're going to see how much they're going to help us in terms of making sure that we keep the look and feel of our presentation consistent and coherent with the look and feel of the brand. Again, you can head to their website, therosemeditation.club, to learn, to have a look, not only to learn more about the topic, but also to have a look and feel at their, their visuals and their website. And because we're going to try to, of course, make sure that the document is in line with their visual communication. That's the goal of, when you're working with someone else's design. It doesn't happen often that you get to work with a client or is the same designer that carry through a company for the entire life of a company. Most often than not, you're going to find different designers, different teams working with the same brand. So it's super important to have these branding guidelines set up, and they will help everybody that is working and cooperating with the marketing design teams to make sure that the language, the tone of voice, and the entire visual communication is streamlined and is consistent, and that will help your viewer, user, or anybody who is your client to recognize right away that they are dealing with your company, in this case with the wonderful The Rose method.
I love that they've sent you type guidelines just kind of already.
You have no idea how good this presentation is. That's why, props to Bruno. Also, tomorrow we're going to work with his image and create a little animation. Cool. Am I just going to give you a little sneaky preview to keep everybody excited about tomorrow?
But wait, there's more. It's amazing.
So this is the little gift that we're going to be creating, and probably see it here. Let's see if I can zoom in like that. So we're going to add that into our document. This is the amazing Bruno, by the way. This is actually him in the photo. Here it is. Wow. And yesterday was his birthday, so that's why I want to give him
Bruno
a shout out. He's a lovely instructor, and we're going to learn more about him because we're going to create hopefully a team page. If I keep just chatting about getting distracted with all this amazing stuff, we're gonna create the amazing page, the team page, and we're gonna learn about these amazing people. But yeah, so check this out, Alex. There is not only, I'm gonna scroll real quick between these brand guidelines. We have, I was jumping right away into page 20, but we have a full, we have an index. of all the content. So there is vision and positioning. We have everything about the logo, the color space, the color palette, color use, typography, photography applications, and file naming. Like, that's a dream. And by the way, now if you're looking at this and it never happened to you to receive a brand guidelines from your clients, don't worry. That's absolutely normal, especially if you're starting. I never received a brand guidelines from when I started to work as a freelance with my first, when I was working with small businesses or family businesses, is most likely that they would not have it. But I'm happy to share this with you because this is a fantastic example. There are so many that you can find online. I think there is Spotify, Netflix, Google, just to name a few, that they share their brand guidelines online. Also, if you head to the Daily Creative Challenges page, there is one of my Daily Creative Challenge who is all about branding, and I give all the links out for all the guidelines. You can also find that on my website. But I think
find some on Adobe stock as well, like we just mentioned earlier.
Yes, exactly. That's a fantastic way for you to get started. So don't be afraid. If your client doesn't have them, that's a fantastic opportunity for you to upsell and say, hey, I really have to create some brand guidelines for you. So I'm sorry, before creating the digital presentation, we got to get this done.
What I love about this guideline, though, is that based off all the type styles and some of the grids, even, you can kind of use that as some guidepost for your own creative for the digital publication version of it, where they like to type locked up like this and not like other things, and the color palette used as a transitional piece as well. So you have a lot of things that you can pull directly from this to kind of help inspire your layouts as well.
Yes, and look at this. There is a proportional color use. So we also know in the color, the way that we're going to be using the color, how much blue we're going to be using, how much black and white, and that's going to help us make our choices. And again, it's nice sometimes if you're creating like maybe for a special event or for an award, for a very unique ceremony, you might be able to break through and maybe just turn these proportional colors on their use. Maybe you can use that ochre color a little bit more instead of the blue. But otherwise, I would strongly recommend to keep your communication consistent, because that will really help you to make sure that you don't really feel that it's being created by different designer, but all you want to carry through is the brand. My business, by the way, is called Printmysoul. And I used that when I started because I was really struggling when working with clients, especially with startups, to kind of explain what my job was. Everybody thought that I was going to create their business. And, the success of the design was solely based on my success as a visual person, as a designer. And I really, I thought of that name because I thought, what I tell to my clients is like, the soul is yours. So I can market. I use the word printing in terms of like marking it in the market, but the soul is yours. So you're giving me not very good content. You cannot expect to receive a wonderful piece, which is, of course, completely the opposite in this situation. In fact, having such a wonderful branding guidelines is going to help us. And look at this. We have also for the typography, we have a story. So we have a little bit more about the typefaces, but also how to use them. And as you can see here, there is a particular choice, which is, it wouldn't have been my choice with typesetting. And we're going to see them in a second when we're going to jump into the paragraph style. We have the size of the leading, which is smaller than the point size. That's definitely something that I will not do. Is my general practice. This is a standard practice. I will definitely have the leading, which is the space within the lines, larger. That's the point size, which is the size of the text. But indeed, when I was creating the document, and probably I'm going to share with you a little bit of a preview of what the final document is going to be like, having this tighter leading really as soon as I changed it, because I was like, no, I'm going to make it larger because I know better. But I was like, no, it's important to stick to the guidelines and make sure that it's on brand. And as soon as I followed, and we're going to use this 80-30 proportion exactly for our heading. It worked. Like right away, I was like, oh, I recognize it. And because I do go on their website and I do practice with them, as soon as I followed the guidelines, I right away felt like the document was part of their branding. So it's really important to try to keep this information consistent. And I'm just going to scroll real quick. You can see that there are so many examples of usage. So white on blue, not black on blue, and so on. So we're going to jump back and forth in terms of the use of photography as well with this document. I'm just going to leave it on the color right now. And also I'm going to show you how to pick up colors, because let's go back into our InDesign. So in the past, what I would have done is to head to our color picker from our swatches. And then from here, I would have literally went back to our guidelines, and then went and grabbed, in this case, my RGB values, for example, for this ochre color, or it's probably easier for the blue. We know that is 0, 0, 100. So we have 0 for the red and green and 100 for the blue. And I would have just kind of typed in here the same values. And as you can see right away, we obtain the same color. And then we can click on OK, or just add it to the swatches by doing so. But in the past, that was a method in which allow us to, now we have just three colors, which is fantastic, or I think 4 colors. But imagine that you have to work with a broader color palette, or maybe you're working on illustration. How long does it take to go and pull this color information one by one, and then add it to the swatches, and then add it to the library? That's going to take us a lot of time. So we have a fantastic tool that is embedded now inside Photoshop. And this is tomorrow work. We're already having a little preview here. But I'm going to go ahead and head back to our homepage for Photoshop, and I'm going to click on Open in this case. And what I'm going to open here is actually the PDF that we were looking at. So you can actually open a PDF file inside Photoshop. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the file that I want to open. And then once I click on Open, I'm going to just choose the page, the one that had the different proportions, because we already know that in that page, we have all the colors showing up in one single instance. So we don't have to pick different pages. Once you select your page, simply click on OK. And you will see that the page will open up in Photoshop. We have a transparent background. That's absolutely fine. All we care about are the color and the amazing capture tool embedded inside Photoshop. If you're not familiar with Capture, it's a fantastic app that you can find on your mobile or on your tablets, and allows you to pick up color and find typefaces. There's a lot of wonderful features, create patterns, but you're going to have a little bit of a taste here when we're working in Photoshop, because this amazing service is, I think it's about a year now, I think from last year and max, that Capture has became part of Photoshop, and hopefully many other apps soon. So all we have to do is add to the libraries panel. As I mentioned, in every app, all panels live under the window menu. So window and then libraries. And here we're going to choose the rows methods, which is the rows library that we choose for this project. Then all you have to do is to click on the plus icon in order to add element. And I'm going to zoom in for you to see. The one that we want to select is create from image. And as you can see, we have the little capture logo already showing up there. Click on create from image, and the capture window workspace will come up inside Photoshop. Now here, as you can see already, this is a cool pattern. That's super cool. That's really nice. Shape will allow you to create vector shaped right away from Photoshop. And in this case, of course, we're looking at color themes. So all you have to do here is to use this little color picker to select the different colors. And in this case, I'm just going to very conveniently place on the different color that I need, which is, of course, the black, the blue, and the ochre color. And then I just simply click to save to CC library. And as you can see, in one click, all our color themes is in our library, the library for our project, ready for us to use. By the way, if you, by any chance, have a project that needs more color, or you're unsure about the color palette, you can go ahead and add as many color palettes as you want. So feel free to play around and to add as many as you want. And then whenever you're done, just simply click on close. And you can
love
also
this so much. Like I know about Capture. I've used Capture before. I have never, ever thought about doing it like this to get my color palettes brought into InDesign. I have been the slowest designer possible by just going in and manually doing it constantly. So
that's a huge time saver.
You've just blown my mind, and I'm never going back ever again.
Yes, I'm so glad. It's a huge time saver. And again, now, if there is, for example, this palette we don't really need, we just can delete it and we have our wonderful The Rose palette. And in fact, if we head back now into InDesign, boom, right away, it's ready for us to use. And I just wanted to double check here the colors. So we have, I'm going to zoom in for you to see. So if we hover on them, we have the RGB values because we're working in RGB. So our super smart InDesign is giving us the X value, but also the RGB. And we have 216, 174, and 100. And if we go back into our document here, and we head to our, I think that was the ochre color. Here it is, it's 216, 174, and 100. So it definitely picked up exactly the same RGB value. We didn't need it to input it, it's already there, it's the right color. And all we gotta do now is simply to right click into the color theme and add theme to swatches. And here it is. We have a folder with our swatches color. We can also right now select the color that we don't want by clicking on the first one, hold shift and click on the very top of the list and click on the little trash icon. So now our document is nice and organized and contains only the color that we're going to be using for this document, which were, again, we were very lucky to have that inside our branding guidelines. And I'm going to jump. Please go ahead. I'm just going through my folders here, looking at these wonderful
when you have
photos.
your swatches up like that, do you make those global color palettes, or because you know that those are the brand colors, they're not going to change, so you don't make them global colors?
I don't make them global colors just because I have the swatches there in the libraries, and I don't know, I just find it super easy, and I think maybe I'm confident with the fact that those are the colors that I'm going to use. Fair. And also we're going to talk about locate colors, which is going to leverage the color palettes inside the swatches panel. So that's going to be another cool trick to show. But right now what I'm doing is bringing all the other wonderful assets that we have here. As you can see, when we were talking about the Rose method, we were talking about the physical part, but there is also a wonderful community site. So that's their community in London where everybody meets up before a class. There is a lot in terms of breathing and rhythm and music. And of course, those are the amazing, wonderful physical then training that you can achieve. And again, it's all based on your breathing and practice and meditation. And again, don't quote me, go ahead, and we're going to get some information right also from the text and the copy that they've kindly provided, because I'm not an expert. I'm starting, nowhere near able to do all of this, but I'm at a good starting point. So let's move on. And all we got to do now is simply select the images from our folder and then dragging them inside our library, like literally click and drag, and you'll see that they'll load right away. Actually, I've just noticed that they are on my Dropbox, so we probably just need a second because they are literally downloading from my Dropbox into my machine, and then it's there. As soon as they're on my machine, they then get right away into our CC libraries. And tomorrow we're going to work more in Illustrator and in Photoshop, and we're going to see that the beautiful power of the CC libraries. As Alex says, we can share it, but most importantly, is available on every app. So now that we are consolidating and creating a library with all the information, it's going to be ready for us to use. So we're going to be able to use the same assets over and over again. Then we have the information about the logo. So I'm going to go ahead, and in particular, I'm interested into just PNG and JPEGs, let's have a look at here. And also, super important, they provided an RGB and CMYK option. So I just want to make sure that I select the RGB file. Remember, if you do have this option, select an RGB option for your file because we are working in RGB. So that's what we want for our document. If you are provided with the EPS file, this is a more general way of writing vector files. They're open. Those are files that you can open as a PDF, but also most importantly as an Illustrator file. So by doing that, actually, let's have a look and let's do this. By opening an EPS, and I'm going to do it with the black, so we're going to be able to see something here. All I'm going to do is to click and drag my document inside Illustrator. Let's have a look. Maybe if I use a mouse, it's going to be a little easier. I'm addicted to my trackpad.
I use both the trackpad and the mouse. It's the best way to go about it.
So once we have our EPS open inside Illustrator, all we're going to need to do is to use the wonderful shortcut Option Command E. If you're working on a Mac, that will be Control Alt E if you're working on Windows. And then from here, we're going to open the export for screen, which is wonderful because we're working digitally. Remember, if you're working in CMYK, that will not be the right way to export. But as we're working for screen, and that's what we want, all we have to do here now is to click on the format and then select PNG, and then make sure that we use a destination folder. Maybe in this case, we can just place it into our desktop. So then is there. You can choose to create a subfolder or to open location after export to look right away. And by the way, you can also choose to scale the image. So let's say that you want to just, save different sizes just for your use. All you have to do is to click on add scale, and then you can decide maybe to make it twice bigger or 4 times bigger, whatever you prefer. Again, PNG is a format that will allow you to preserve transparency. If you do want perhaps a different format like a JPEG, that will contain a background layer. So in this case, we have no background, and therefore is going to show up as white. So you have the possibility here to save multiple files in different formats and different sizes right away, only from one screen. All you have to do then is to click on Export Artboard. And as you can see, right away is opening my desktop folder, and we have the PNG, as we said, preserve the transparency. So we do only have the Rose Meditation logo in black, and the JPEG has the white background. So if you ever see an EPS file, don't worry about it. That's a way that you can save it. And I think it's worth mentioning, and I didn't do it, you can also save your file. All you have to do, again, Option Command E, Alt Control E on a Windows. You can also choose a format which is called SVG. This is very useful when working with digital documents, or if you're creating file, they're going to be published online, especially on website, because it will allow you to have a scalable file. So it will be able to use the same image in different sizes without losing quality, so without having a pixelation. Alex, I don't know if you have a better definition of SVG. Maybe
scalable vector graphic, right? So
yes.
It's on the title of the letters.
Yes,
it's perfect.
Perfect. So again, I just wanted to give you a different option because it's easy to have a nice PNG, drop it in the libraries, but what if we don't have it? I think that it's nice to see how do we get there, and not only having the perfect file at the perfect time.
Do you typically prefer to use PNGs over vector
SVG?
graphics or no?
Yeah, I think I'm like a little bit old school in that. I'm not. I'm sorry. I know that was going to disappoint you.
Yeah, I know. Like we were talking about how much I love Illustrator the other day, and now you come at me with just PNGs. Oh man, yeah.
I'm old school.
Everything, even when I'm importing everything into Photoshop or whatever, I always keep it as a smart object or as scalable as possible rather than pixels.
So I'm going to be, in terms of practical, I work with my business works with I face two different side clients in terms of who I work with. So there is a big chunk of my business that talks with large companies, and I think that SVG is very flexible in all your projects. And there is a part of my business that faces family businesses. I still like to keep myself grounded, and I never wanted to let go of these businesses, especially because some of those are people that really believed in me when I started 6 years ago. So I really strive to make sure that I take care of them and I help them throughout, even now, even if I could perhaps just move on and just pivot into something else. And a lot of these businesses, especially online, they use templatey sort of websites which do not read SVG. So that's one of the reasons why I am, I'm still with 1 foot in, what do you say? 2 foot in one shoes. I don't even know. I can tell you how to say in Italian. But that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit backtracked. But at least I'm aware of the SVGs. And most importantly, the reason why I want to give a shout out to the SVGs is because you can now use SVGs. And again, I think that was June release 2020, if I say correctly. If not, please someone correct me. And I don't know if you know better about it, Alex, but SVG is now available to import inside InDesign. So before, the SVG format was not supported, but right now is supported inside InDesign as well. So if you do deal with SVG file, you'll be able to open it up into InDesign. I think it was the latest app of the Creative Cloud to allow the use of SVG.
There used to be a lot of issues with SVGs, even in Illustrator back in the day, and it was really frustrating importing them and then having all just the code kind of just thrown on your screen. So I'm glad it's working everywhere. We're in the future now, and now
we're in the future now. We're just waiting for Kladi.
I mean, animated SVGs are so cool on websites, even just like subtle like logo animations you can do on them. But anyways. That's not what this is about.
Ooh, am I gonna? Can you show us something tomorrow?
Sorry, I meant really other excited. People can do. I don't know how to animate an SVG.
All right.
That's too much coding.
Well, we'll find some example at least to show for tomorrow.
I'll see what I can find.
Yes. But it will be very exciting, and we can place them inside our digital documents. So I'll try to find something as well that we can just perhaps just showcase in the document once we publish it online. I love the animation feature. I think is super cool that we can add this feature inside our document. And talking about interactive features, now that we have all our beautiful photos, we got a logo, it's time to get started with our document. All we have to do here now is to create a workspace that will allow us to work efficiently while creating an interactive document. If you're working on InDesign and perhaps you just started or opened the app, most likely the workspace is going to be set on essential. The way that you can set up the workspace by using the workspace switcher here at the top right of your workspace. I'm going to zoom in for you to see the area that I'm looking at. Here it is. And if you click on the down pointing arrow, you'll see that there are many different presets ready for you to use. By the way, if your essential doesn't look like mine because I've been moving stuff around, all you have to do is to click on reset essential. And you will see that will bring it back to the original look. So if you just open InDesign and you're just joining in, that's the way that your workspace is going to look like. But in order to work efficiently and make sure that you're using some time-saving panels that are going to be using over again when working with an interactive space, I'll always advise to try to reach for the template and for the preset that is as close as possible to the output that you're going to be creating in order to accelerate your workflow. In this case, of course, interactive for PDF will be the one that is right for us. And as you can see, it's nice and messy because probably I was playing around with it to make sure that you can see nice and neat how it looks like. Always go and reset your workspace and you will see the way that it looks like. Also, what I usually do is try to clean it up. So once you use a preset, you do not have to stay with the same preset over and over again. And most importantly, you can customize it and create your own, which that's what we're going to do here real quick. The quickest way to close a panel that you don't need is to right click on its icon and then click on close. Or you can also, for example, drag it out. Let's see when we're going to be using. We're not going to be using bookmarks. So I'm just going to drag it out and you can just click on the little X icon to the top left of each panel. We're not going to use any grading here. And so far, I'm just going to keep it like that. Also, something that I like doing, I'm not going to use page transition, but something that I like doing here is also to split our workspace. That's probably a little bit of being a little OCD with our panel. Are you super organized with your panels, Alex? No.
There's a couple of things that I'll always add, like a line. I think that's a big one on all of them. And then,
let's do that. Let's do this.
Yeah, because I'm always snapping. I've always got to snap everything to like a line horizontally or vertically or whatever.
Where's the line? I lost it. Utilities.
Exactly. It always disappears.
Here it is, object and layout. So if you're looking for a line, there is the Shift F7 shortcut or Window, Object and Layout, and then Align. And I'm glad we found it.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know there was a shortcut for it. That's amazing.
Yes. The way that I organize is usually by document structure. And again, I just consolidate here on the side the panel depending on the functionality. And this usually helps me when I work through, especially a lot of pages in InDesign. So I try to go for document structure first. So there will be pages, a line, and maybe layers. Then I work with kind of like the properties, so all the appearance, and that will be the color, strokes, swatches, Perhaps also here we can add some of the styling tools. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and look into our paragraph style, which comes with its sister character style, and we can just kind of drag it here inside our styling. And then I mentioned the properties panel, which is very handy as well. And I'm going to bring that inside our appearance and styling. And then here where we have the links, I'm going to drag our library, because that's usually where I place assets. So again, we're sort of creating like a little block here. So we have pages, layers, and align that are going to help us with the document structure. Then we have our assets with the links, and links, by the way, here is going to be listing every image, everything that we bring in our document will be listed inside our links. CC library that we just seen right here with our dedicated library for our the rows method. And then we have all the styling with properties. And as you can see, all you have to do is literally to drag them in order to consolidate them. And what we're going to do here is also consolidate this wonderful new panel that if you haven't worked with interactive documents, perhaps it's the first time that you're going to be having a look at. We have hyperlinks, media, and the wonderful buttons and form, which is going to be super cool. One more that I'm going to be adding is under interactive. That's where you find the interactive panels if you're looking to work with them, just directly with your essential preset, and is the EPUB interactive preview. This panel is super cool because it will allow you to preview our interactivity without leaving InDesign. So we're going to see tomorrow most likely how to publish the document, but here today we're going to be able to preview it thanks to the EPUB interactivity preview. Right, and now that we've been so organized and so good in creating our interactivity personalized workspace, all we have to do is to go back into our workspace feature and click on create new workspace. Here it is, in order to create a new workspace, and I'm going to call it Kladi interactive, or whatever you want. You can call it Kladi, whatever you want. You don't have to call it Kladi interactive.
I'm going to. You've really inspired me with this. This is way more organized than I've ever been with any of my tools. And now I'm going to have a deep, hard look into like how I actually organize my life and my workspaces, and I'm going to name them all after you.
Okay. Kladi OCD panel. Version 1.
Exactly. Kladi 1, Kladi 2.
And the super cool thing is that here you can capture the location and the customization. So the customization is just the kind of panels that you put in, and the location is the way that we stack them as well. So, if you are as obsessed as me, that's going to be like heaven. And then click on OK. And the reason why I'm saying is that super cool, because it happens to me all the time. I get very messy. So I need to be organized to manage how messy I get. Paragraph styles, character style libraries that start to float around. And all I have to do, again, even with my own custom workspace, is to click and then set reset interactive. And here it is back into order, just like we set it up. And we're ready to work. So let's start from our pages here. And we're going to have a nice look at our master. The master works like a background. So it's going to be showing in every pages to which the master is applied as a background. And in fact, before we get started, what I like to do for our master is to place them into different layers. Every document, pretty much in every CC application, comes with at least one layer. A layer is a container where all your assets and works are going to be placed in, like a group, like a folder. And there is always at least one layer, because that's, we need to have a place where to put all our stuff. But the cool thing is that you can create multiple layers. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the little plus icon here. And you can also double click on them to rename them. So I'm going to name this one master. And then perhaps the other one just content. And click on OK. Now it's super important, as in Photoshop, the order of the layer stack matters. The layers that will be displayed above other layers, their content will be also displayed on top. So if we're going to place, and actually let's get it done and then have a practical way of showing it. So I'm going to click now into my master layer, and then I'm going to head into my pages and into my master. So that will allow me now to double click on the master, and here we can create this background for our pages that will contain this master. And before getting started, I'm going to go ahead and click on layout and select create guides to create a grid. Again, if you remember those little wonderful sketches that I've created. They kind of give me an idea of the sort of number of grids that I want to use. Again, depends if you want to create a symmetric or an asymmetric design. There is a big debate in the number of columns, if they have to be even or odd. Alex, I don't know if you're part of the
no.
No. Do you even care?
For me, whenever I'm making columns, it really depends on what I'm building. I don't typically do huge publications anymore. I think the biggest size editorial work I do is like maybe a 20-page document, but I know some people do 100, 200, 300 page documents, and you need flexible systems and grids and all this stuff. So I typically make a couple grids and then break all the rules. I think that's absolutely perfect, and it makes a lot of sense, and that was my endpoint. So there is a big debate if you should use an odd number or an even number. I think that what Alex said is the way to go. Just follow your sketches, follow your plan, and follow your project. Nothing is better than sticking to what you're going to create. And then if you need to break the rules, break the rules. We're probably going to do that in this project today. I was comfortable with a 5x8 grid. The gutter, if you don't know what the gutter is, make sure that you click on preview so you can also see the changes happening live when you create your grid. The gutter is the space within each column. So you can see now that I increase the gutter, which is the space between each row, that space is going to show up there. And I would use a 20 pixel just to give a little bit of a breathing space between the different assets. That's going to allow us to give, whenever we're going to place our content, it's going to give us some little space when creating. Also, you have the option to choose between margin and pages in order to fit in your grid. I think a lot of people, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
A lot of people that are probably more familiar with web design or web development, this is really kind of very similar to what you'd be doing when you're laying out grids for your website. So there's a lot of symbiotic relationships in design, and this is one of those biggest ones where, I know that we're doing a lot of digital publication with this, so it's even more integrated, but
absolutely,
it's a very different kind of brain setting when you're working in InDesign, but this is very similar.
Yes, but the look of it, is to help you to understand how the content is structured. So that's why we need our guides, and to help us to make sure that we give a nice consistent look, and also to keep it proportionate as well. So they're very handy. I always advise to work with grids. I think is a wonderful way to start. And remember, if you place it into your master, it will be automatically applied to all your pages. So I think that that's a great way to go. If you perhaps decide that you want to change your guides, and simply click on OK, in this case, to commit to this first option, you can always go back into layout, create guides, and then you can create more guides. And if you see, they are going to start to appear on top of the previous one. All you got to do is to click on remove existing guides, and you'll be able to swap right away into whatever your new guides are going to be like. So you can either overlap, or you can just delete the previous one and come on with some new design. I'm going to click on cancel, as I was happy with my 8x5 grid. And by the way, if you download the digital presentation getting started document, you're going to see that that's the same grid that we have there, although it looks a little bit different, and we're gonna know why in just a second. So
what's the most columns you'll typically ever use? Do you have like a rule that you don't go over a certain amount of columns?
I think 12 or 15.
God, that's what I was about to say, is 12. I've done a 24 before, but it's
I don't know if I can see that details.
Yeah, at that point you might as well just be doing a 12 grid and not breaking all your
That's a lot of flexibility, isn't it?
I was responsive.
What is the difference between 1 and 24?
Just get way more granular. You have very small margins.
No. See, so you are very detailed about different aspects. I'm more workspace obsessed, and you actually did on the work. And let us know in the chat, what is your minimum or maximum, the way that you like to work with your grids. It's always, I think, really exciting to see. I think yours was a great question, Alex. Should we just turn into
let's do a poll. Well? Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll for 1 through 4, 4 to 8, 12 plus. I think if we did a poll for that, I think it'd be pretty telling. Because I think whenever you're first starting off in InDesign, especially just doing a 2-column layout for a print thing is totally fine. It works really well, gives you a lot of flexibility. But yeah, I think.
And in the meantime, while the poll goes live, I'm just going to jump back into the final document because I just want to give you a little preview of what we're going to be creating here. And we're going to jump right away into using the EPUB interactivity. I just think it's nice to see, where we're going with this document. I know that I like to talk about, maybe the swatches panel and all these technical bits, but it's nice to see some juice and some final output here as well. So while the poll is live, I just want to give a little bit of a preview of what the final document tomorrow is going to be like. I mean, I think this is still missing the GIF, but we can have a little bit of a look at what towards the final is going to look like. But most importantly, we can see in use our EPUB interactivity little panel here. Now, whenever you work with an EPUB interactivity preview, what you want to do is to make sure to click on play preview. Now, play and stop here may look like they don't make too much sense, but once you learn what they stand for, they're totally cool. So play loads your new preview, while stop allows you to clear the preview. So in this case, because we never previewed these pages before, we're going to go ahead and click on play preview in order to make sure that InDesign loads the digital and interactive preview inside this little panel here. And by the way, you can make this panel as big as you want, as large as you want in order to display your preview here. So don't be shy, and especially if you have like small details, it's nice to see things working. And here we have a next page, which is going to be next step. That's what we're going to be doing now, creating a next page button. So by clicking on the little arrow here, we should be able to jump on the next page, and hopefully it works. Maybe not. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to load, and I'm going to show you also why, because I have a video coming up on the next page. So let's see if we have any reason why it's not taking us there. And there's always a reason. You just got to find the reason why it's not working. But I'm just going to show you most likely what the reason is. So what we're going to be doing towards the end of today is to bring in a YouTube video. So you can actually embed HTML code within your interactive document. And that's most likely why my computer is like, struggling to load the little preview here. Hopefully, if we just give him a little bit of time, it's going to take us there. Because I can see here, not only is it's not letting me use the little button, but it's actually not letting me go to the next page from the little manual thing. Probably if I place it here, no. So we're gonna have to wait until it loads. It can take some time. That's absolutely fine. If not, maybe we just restart InDesign and see how it goes. But otherwise, another cool way to share, to see your document live and to see if everything works is to head from our, let me go back here, from our bottom panel. So if we go back to our first page here, you'll see that if we...
is now officially live in chat. So if you're in chat, make sure that you are voting. Get your vote.
Yes. Let us know what is your maximum column that you ever use. Correct? Is that the question?
It's how many columns do you typically work with?
Okay. Oh yeah, I can see it now. 1 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, or 12 plus. Oh, so the 24 is being like ignored.
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be very extreme.
So, well, if it's the case, I'm just probably gonna restart InDesign. If that's because that's super cool. We gotta show that. We gotta get this going into the preview here. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show you some of the other element that we had here in terms of the presentation. We have a video playing here. So I'm going to show you how to add both a YouTube video and a video. So that's a little preview of what's coming up right now in this other hour. We have another hour, correct? Almost?
We have about 45 minutes.
Fantastic. Yep. So let's get started and create a little bit of this content. I really wanted to like give the wow moment with the YouTube video, but it's not happening. Let's see. Let's try one more time. Otherwise, we're just going to give him some time. And by the way, when I was talking about the clear preview and the play preview, as I said, every time that you press play preview, ooh, we might just get this thing going. Maybe not yet. Let's give him some time to load all this video. Maybe I should just close some of this tab that I have here. All these photos are really heavy and videos can be really heavy as well. So that could be a reason why your machine perhaps is taking a little bit of time to load. But the most important thing is that every time that you load a document into your preview, you want to make sure that you clear it first, and then you click on the preview again. And then we'll definitely help you to see all the changes. If you do not clear and then press on preview again, all the changes that you made are not going to be there. So that will be the reason. Right, I'm going to go ahead and close this digital presentation and also my introduction, because we don't need it anymore, just to make it a little bit easier to work. And I'm going to go ahead and save this document just to give a little bit of a breather to my machine. And now we're still into the master page, and I'm going to show you how to add those buttons here. And then we're going to see them to use. And if for whatever reason our EPUB now is having a hiccup, we can just go ahead and publish it real quick online and have a preview online. Because remember, if you don't share your link with anybody, nobody is really gonna know it. So you can keep previewing also on the web, and nobody's, until you share the link, nobody's gonna really know that that's even happening. So that could be another way for you to test. And if this is the case, that's what we're going to be doing. So
like a life lesson on how to share your Behance portfolio with people too. If you don't share it with anybody, how are they going to know?
Yes.
You got to share your links, people.
Really good lesson here. And let's go ahead and press on the letter T or click on the type tool to start and create our first text box here. And I'm going to click and drag and using our guides here. I'm going to use just this section of the page to add our little symbols for previous and next page. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. And now I'm going to go ahead and double click and select them. And if we really want to be super specific here with the symbols, I'm going to go ahead under properties. And I know that the two typefaces were called Sector Grotesque A and Sanomat or Sanomat, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the Sector Grotesque and then give it like a little bit of bigger size, maybe perhaps something like 30 would work. By the way, when we are working with anything that is going to be displayed on screen, is a good habit to keep the size a list of 16 point. That should be the minimum size for you to display to preserve legibility and make sure that your document is accessible for everybody. And talking about accessibility, a very, very cool feature, because we're going to talk about Adobe Font in just a second. And we talked about Adobe Stock and all these amazing services that we have connected to the wonderful Creative Cloud. But if we go to color.adobe.com, since we're talking about accessibility, a wonderful feature and that is really nice to check. And here it is right away coming up on the what's new is the contrast checker, but most importantly, the color blind safe themes. So if you go ahead here and I'm going to go ahead and click on and close this. Oops, it's opening on Pinterest. Why are you doing this? Can you see this? That there is like the little Pinterest zoom that is like over the
everything. No way, Pinterest. We have Behance now. We don't need you.
And it's over, like it goes literally over where the X to close the window is. So you're forced to like click on it. But anyway, once you can just simply click anywhere on your screen in order to escape that what's new window. And what I wanted to show you here are these accessibility tools. The contrast checker is the brand new one, allows you to make sure to check that the contrast, especially if you're looking to text and background within graphic text or large or small text component. That's a wonderful way to see if you pass or fail in terms of accessibility. But also if you go under tools and click on a down pointing arrow here, we can also see our color blind safe tool. And this will allow you to make sure that the theme that you're using, the color that you're using are okay and they're visible for color blindness, and it will allow you to make sure to detect if there is any conflict and if any of your color theme will create confusion for people with color blindness. So I think that those are like very, very important features, and we're super lucky to be able to use them. And as you can see, we have the possibility to link any of those assets right away into our libraries. The last library that we were using is the Rose Method library. So that's the one that shows up automatically. So the website knows what we're doing in the app, which I think is super mega. And if you want to, you can also, of course, select any other of your zillions libraries. If you're like me, you have like a trillions libraries. You can choose whatever you want and just save your save theme to your library. Do we have any results for our poll in the meantime before I jump back? The poll.
All right. On the poll, we've got 9 votes. All right. The winner is.
Love that.
8 to 12 by 44%. And 0% said 12 plus. Very interesting. 4 to 8 is at 33%, coming in second place. And 1 to 4 is at 22%. So it seems like 4 plus is really where everybody's finding the sweet spot.
4 plus. Okay.
4 plus.
Okay, that depends, because of course it also depends where you are, working from.
Exactly. Yeah. Screens or pages or spreads, even like that's going to change everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And are you counting
and folds?
Folds. Are you counting, one spread as that's the whole column, or are you counting both spreads as? Oh man, that's a debate.
That's going to take us on a long tangent. So something that I wanted to show here is, and again, today we're going to be mainly talking on how to set up the file and the paragraph styles. And then tomorrow we're really going to hit the content. So what I wanted to show here is, for example, as wonderful as our amazing The Rose theme as method, as they provided us all these wonderful fonts. That's the word I was looking for. I'm looking for something like a little bit more bold for my navigation. And the Sector Grotesque A only comes with regular, because that's the one that they license to use. So there is no bold here. So how do I go about it? So first of all, I looked online for the Sector Grotesque, and I ended up on their landing page. And then all I've done is basically just got a screenshot from their website. And then all you have to do is head on Adobe Fonts, which is fonts.adobe.com, and click on the little camera here on top of the search bar. Here you're going to be able to load any image. In this case, I'm just going to use my screenshot and then click on open. And what's going to happen here is that fonts.adobe.com, and by the way, this feature is also available on the Capture app on your mobile and on your iPad and on your tablets as well. So you're going to be able to use this feature as well within the Capture app. It's going to go ahead and look for creating a visual search. So creating finding a font that is similar, that is available within your thousands and thousands of Adobe fonts within the library. Pretty much free for you to use within your document. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I select. You can either select here just the word. I can select the entire sentence. If you, for example, are just taking a photo with your phone and you want to cover some areas, you can just use this kind of selector to hide the bits that you don't want. So you make sure that your font here search is literally looking at the right pieces of text that you want to select. Then it's going to give you a check here at the bottom saying, hey, just making sure that I'm reading that right. It's not just hello. Yep, that's absolutely fine. We can move to the next step, and you can see some results. So we can see that we have newer, Stevie, newest. Then we have more grotesque, active grotesque, that in this case is already activated in my library. But most importantly, we are looking for the bold. And if you see what I've done here, when I was looking at the different weights of these lovely Sector Grotesque, I went right away for the bold, because I know that that's the one that I was looking for, and that's the one that I took a photo of. Otherwise, you'll be able perhaps to use, in this case, for example, for active grotesque, I know that there is like a broad family. So if, for example, you need, I don't know if there is an italic, yeah, there is an italic, you can go ahead and activate it, and it's right away available for you to use in your document, and similar for a medium and so on. So the whole point here is that if you don't have a font, or if you just have a font, but you need a wider family in order to make sure that you have more flexibility in the hierarchy of your text within InDesign, the amazing font.adobe.com will allow you to pretty much scan, detect, and find a similar font, which is hopefully has a larger family that you can kind of like, get the right font and the right way that you want right for you to use. And then all we got to do is jump back into InDesign, and we know that we're looking for the active grotesque in bold, And boom, here it is. We got a very similar style, so it will keep the same features because Adobe Font has already found the right feature for us. And then it's going to give us a bold feel. So very similar to our original font, but we get the bold that we didn't have. And
That's
now I'm
brilliant.
just going to...
I mean, that feature alone is such a time saver, because back in the good old days, you have to go on to like DaFont, or what was it called? Yeah, I think it was DaFont. Or name that font, I think it was
name that font, where you have like all the features, isn't it?
And everybody would be like, what is this typeface? And then somebody out of the internet will respond to you in a couple of days and tell you exactly what the typeface was. So this is just so cool that we have that ability now to just screenshot something, post it on there, figure it out really quickly, and see if there's a free option for you to use. That's brilliant.
It's a huge time saver. And again, here, what I've done just to separate them, I'll just give it a tab. And I believe that the shortcut, and let me see if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's Option Command I. That's Alt Control I if you're working on Windows to show the hidden character. So this is the hidden character that symbolizes that there is a tab in between these two little signs. But what if I want our tab to go like to the end of the line? Like I really wanted to fill the entire box. So many people do like space. We don't want to do that at all.
Why?
In this case, because we want to keep our tabs organized. When I have control, because we are a control freak. I mean, I am a control freak. I don't know about you, but
I like my spaces. They're my friends.
Space. Yeah. Well, there is an option to the spaces, which is setting your tabs. And all you're going to do here is to use the shortcut. I hope I get it right. It's Shift Command T. Oops, here it is.
Nice.
Which is going to be Shift Control T if you're working on a Windows machine. And then something really cool here is that if we zoom in into our text, all we have to do is to click on this little magnet, and you'll see that whoop, we'll just move the tabs right away on top of the area of text that you're selected. But remember, you got to select the text area ahead, otherwise it doesn't know what to snap to. So once you select your text box and you use the magnet to position the panel just above the text frame, all you got to do is choose what sort of alignment do you want. In this case, I'm looking for a right justified because I really wanted to put it at the end. And all I got to do is to click on the kind of alignment that I want. And then all I have to do is to place it wherever I want, in this case, at the end of my text frame, and boom, here it is. We're already located. We can just say bye-bye and close our tabs. We don't need it anymore. But imagine how useful that is when we have forms, you know, like when you have like different forms and then you have the field in a different place. Yeah. It's nice and easy to use these tabs to make sure everything is aligned, and you don't need to like count the number of spaces of copy paste spacing. I've seen that doing a million times. You can just set your tabs to whatever area, right or left justified, that you want, and it's just a second. And by the way, you can add, I'm just going to bring that up real quick, you can add more than one. So let's say that I'm just going to add another one of this little, and then add another tab. Oops, what happened here? Just going to put a number 1, and then so make sure that we have it there. So now that we have, what I've done is press Option Command C, that's Alt Control C on Windows to fit all the content inside the frame. And we'll see everything that was hidden just kind of came up on the other line. Again, make sure that you select that text frame, go back to our tabs. And what we have to do here is now introduce another tab, which will be, of course, giving us some room. In this case, we can use perhaps a left align, and we're just gonna place it here. So as you can see right away is moving and giving us the space of our first tab right here. And you can see that I can move it along left or right, whatever I want. And then it's going to keep our second tab for our second element to the right. So I think that that's quite handy to use. So you can add as many as you want, and you can add as many arrows on top, and that will control the position of your tab. I'm just going to close that and go back to whatever we have. And now that we're here, I'm going to use the shortcut Shift Command O to transform our text into a shape. So it's not editable anymore, and we're going to use it as a shape. And actually what I'm going to do here is to select only one of these shapes by pressing the letter A, which will going to bring us our direct selection tool. And I'm going to click and drag over the one shape that I want to isolate, because at the moment they are embedded together, and I'm going to place it in the same place by using the shortcut Shift Option Command V. That's Shift
That
Alt
command
Control
always
V.
gets me every time.
Because you
I
do
always,
Command F.
Yes, Command F from
Yes.
Illustrator.
Same. I feel your pain. But what we're doing here now is to finally jump into the interactivity buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and select on the very right one, which is the right page here, and click on buttons and forms. And what we're going to do is right away set what sort of buttons we want. In this case, what sort of interactivity we're going to add here. So we're going to add a button. It's very extremely important to name your button because it can get very confusing. So this is going to be next page. And then all you have to do here is to jump into the action, click on the plus icon to add one of the action that we want. And what we want is to go to next page. So just simply click on go to next page, and then we are ready to go. There are different status, which, you know, if you're publishing for online, it could be super cool to add a different status, rollover or click. All you have to do is to simply click on whatever is the status and then select your item, go back into your, for example, swatches. If you want, you can change the color. And then once you go back into our button and forms with your object selected, make sure to head back into normal to bring the status or the look of your button as a normal status when you go into the next page. So that's for the next page. Of course, we're going to be doing the same for the previous page. So select that little object there. And by the way, you can use text as well as button. The only reason why I transformed these side symbols into object is just because I wanted to separate them and use them individually. And I thought that it was much neater to use the tab and to go through this workflow. But if you have a single line of text, you can use that text frame also as a button. We're going to see that in a second. You can use an image as a button, and probably we're going to set up that next. So I'm going to go ahead and select button here. And then in this case, into my action, I'm going to do go to previous page, make sure to name it previous page. And again, if you want to set a rollover status, set the rollover, head to your swatches, make sure that you select the right color as the one they used before, and then head back to normal to set the status as the original color. And here it is. And one more thing that we're going to do here is to use our wonderful rectangle frame tool and click and drag to create an area. This is where we're going to be placing our logo. And we're going to head to our CC libraries, looking for the rows. Logo in PNG with a transparent background. We're going to place it inside our frame. It looks like it's way too big for our frame. So we're going to use the shortcut Shift Option Command E. That's Shift Alt Control E on Windows to make sure to fit our image inside the frame. Now make sure to click on the Shift. Remember, Shift usually when you resize something allows you to work proportionally to keep the original proportion. Because look what happens if I do not use the Shift key, it's just going to squish the image within the frame. So, yep, I'm
that
sure they're not going to be
brand guidelines.
They'll be very happy with that, exactly. Especially because they've been so precise, and we want to make sure that we keep everything nice and neat. And as I said, you can transform any image into a button as well. So we're going to use the logo again as an image, go to button and forms. In this case, again, button. We're going to call this one home page. And then into the action, we're going to make sure that this image is going to take us to our first page. And here it is. And as you can see, when you work with images, you already know that is a button because you do have the little button sort of icon overlay showing. And also that's something that you want to notice that is probably not very visible in these small items is that also the way that the bounding box changes from a normal line into a dotted line. So that already tells you that you have some sort of effect applied to that particular object inside your document. Right, so this is our first master. And when we head back into our pages, you see right away that this is now applied. So whenever we navigate into the different pages is there. But what if we want to introduce a blue background? So the first thing that I'm going to do here is to click and drag my master inside our little plus icon. And as you can see, we duplicate it right there, or you can also right click and simply use the duplicate spread master to duplicate it, whatever you fancy. And what I'm going to do here, double click on the B master to make sure that we are selecting the right master. Click on the rectangle tool. And then if you want, you can just simply click once and make sure that you input the right size, which is 1920 by 1080. And click on OK. And then we also want to use the Command Shift left bracket to make sure that we bring this to the very back. And we should be able, oops, what am I doing here? Searching things. So again, Shift, Command or Control and left bracket will make sure that it's going to bring your object to the back. And now we are going against guidelines. So if you remember into the Rose document, it said that we cannot use black text over let me see if I can catch that page. Here it is. Do not use black typography on the blue. I mean, that's pretty intuitive, but I think it's important. And I'm sure that the color.adobe.com would have given us some alarm for the contrast there.
The accessibility would be going off for sure.
Correct. So we simply delete the Rose method logo in black, and we drag into the same frame the one that is in white, and because it was exactly the same file, the same size, it's just going to sit nice and there into place. And then the same here with the arrow, we're just going to simply select them and then head to the properties panel and make them white. Fantastic. Just like so, now we have a different color background. So if we go into our pages, and all we have to do is to click and drag to apply the master. So page number 1 will have the white background, while page number 2 will have the darker background, which is going to help us to have a look at our pages. And if you're tired of seeing the grids and maybe you just want to have a fresh eye and look at what's going on, press the W key to switch from normal view to preview mode, and that will help you to change the view. And by the way, if you want to take it to next level, because maybe your director or your client is working in the room, all you have to do is use the Shift W, and you're going to bring it into presentation mode. So that's another way to, again, from your document and from InDesign, right away jump into a presentation mode. Then simply press Escape to go back, and W to go back into the normal view where we have all our grades. Now, what happened though in the first page, we do not need the going back button because, you know, for page number 1, we don't really need that. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate by dragging into the plus icon, or again, just by right clicking on it, and I'm going to create another master, a C master. So everything is duplicated. All I got to do here is to click on the previous page and then press on delete on the backspace in order to delete it. And what I'm going to do is apply to page number 3, which we can drag to the top, which is going to be now page number 1. And here it is. So here we have already our cover, and then we have our second page and our third page, which do have the back and forward little icon here. And what I'm going to do here now, just because we really want to kind of make sure that we talk more about interactivity, is to show you how to bring in a YouTube video or any HTML really inside your document. In this case, I'm going to use this blue background. I quite love the having this color here. And what I'm going to do is to bring our our video on top. Now, first of all, you need to find a video, or you need to find a bit of code of HTML that you want to import. In this case, what I did, I went to the and search for the Rose method. And also embedding code allows you to keep, I will say, all the rights, because, you know, everything goes back to that page, you know. So I think it's important, rather than recording. I see people doing weird stuff with other people's content, unless you're authorized. And by the way, the wonderful the Rose method team allowed us to use these during the live, so we're totally cool using their photos. But you know, if you don't have the rights, do not take other people's photos, or images or videos. You can, although, embed them. And if you embed them, you basically backtrace them to their page, to their you know, channel, and so on. So you're not, as much as you're using their content, you're also somewhat linking back to them, and everything stays in the right environment, I believe.
Yep, that's super crucial. Don't steal people's stuff.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's really sad when I see like artists, or like, you know, having to publish online, and, you know, I've seen this person using, or seen this brand using my work, and it's just, you know, we put a lot of artwork in what we do, and everybody does, is, you know, don't do it. It's bad.
Yeah.
bad. So again, I'm just gonna do a step back here. For those of you who don't know how to find the code to share into your YouTube videos, all you have to do is to click on the share button, then make sure that you go into embed, and you left this iframe here, and all you have to do is simply click and select it and press Command C to copy this code. And once you have the code copied, we're going to head back into InDesign, select whatever is the page where you want to add your content. And in this case, all we have to do here is to select our object and then insert HTML. Now, you'll see that the Edit HTML dialog box will pop up. All you have to do, press Command V, super cool, and you're ready to go. But now, something that is super important is make sure to keep your eyes peeled on the size, because even if it looks like you will be able to resize the frame as you probably will resize any image, with video, once you add this bit of code, this is going to be displayed into the final document. So if you want to edit the size, this is the place where you're going to be editing the size. So if I want a video to be full page, I need to make sure that I put the right width and the right height within the code. You know, if you don't know how to code, it doesn't matter. It's really simple. Where it says width, you put the right number. And in this case, we know that it was 1920. And then the height, we knew that it was 1080. So there's no coding. It's just literally making sure that the right size is there. So 1920 by 1080. That's all you got to do. The rest, if you don't know what it is, doesn't matter. You can leave it like that. All you got to do is to press on OK once you know that you're happy with the right size of the document. And at first, you'll see that it'll just display a little snippet of text. And then again, it will take a little bit to load. Here it is, it's already loaded. And then we can now bring it forward here and place it inside our text. Now, if you perhaps want to have this document, this video under the logo and the navigation, so you want to preserve the navigation here, the best way to do that is to go back to our master. We're going to create another copy. Again, you can create as many master as you want. Don't be afraid. Let's make sure that we create a copy of the right master. I believe it was the B master, which has previews and next page. Click on the plus icon here, and then we can go ahead and delete the blue background, and then we're going to go ahead and apply the master here to our page where the video is. And look what happened here. Because when we click on the video, we see that the bounding box is red. This is already telling us that belongs to the red layer, which was part of the master, and we don't want that. So what do we want is to have the HTML to be inside the content, but most importantly, we want, click and drag, should be able to have it there. But most importantly, we want our master to be under our content pages. And that hopefully should be happening here. So if we have our master in the right location, let's see, here it is. If we apply the D master over here, it should work. Let's see what we did. Oh no, it's the opposite, right? Isn't it? It needs to be on top. I'm going against my own rules. So, of course, because as we said, and that's part of my dyslexia probably, the order of the layer stack matters. So content that is based on top is going to cover the content on top. So if we do place the video on top of the master, it ain't going to show. That wasn't happening there. So if we want to place the master on top of the content in this case, and we go back to our pages, ta-da, it worked. So, you know, don't get angry with the app. Sometimes it's just the choices that you make that might influence that. And let's go ahead and see if we can have a little preview into the interactivity. Again, if it's for whatever reason, woo, here it is.
It works.
So it works. It's very common when you load HTML code, you will not have a preview, you will not have a thumbnail, you will not have anything. It's not going to show up inside your document. Although once you go to the wonderful EPUB interactivity, you'll be able not only to see the preview or the way that it looks like, and I think that is fantastic that you can actually have the before and after page navigation also above a video within a document. I think that really allows you flexibility, but also you can play it. So you actually have the full video playing within your interactivity. So if there is any issue, with the audio volume or whatever, you can actually, and I think that the reason why we're not hearing anything because he's on mute. Yeah, so probably now you can hear it as well. So we have a preview of the audio and we can manage the audio directly from the video, just like so. And so on. So we have exactly what's going to happen inside our document within our preview here. Again, don't be afraid if that's all you can see on site or your publication.
I love that you're able to kind of watermark the video in that
So
viewing
cool,
experience
isn't it?
because you have the logo just placed over that. That's so cool. I think it's from
and the
just even
navigation
making,
as well.
yeah, exactly. Well, even making your own video if you wanted to host it as like a background element, you already know that everything that you have there is essentially just operating like a normal website would. So it gives you all that same flexibility to really make your designs and publications really sing. So I love that.
Completely agree. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you some more tricks in InDesign. And I'm going to start by creating one of the team page. And I'm going to start by creating like the main team page, and then we're going to create an introduction. Again, I don't know if it's because of my dyslexia. I recently found out it's super crazy, Alex. I was talking with my mom and I was like, oh, Mom, by the way, I found out like that I'm dyslexic. And she's like, oh, I knew. And I was like, well, thanks for letting me know. And I basically found out because I do everything from the bottom to the top and from right to left. And I found out that I was left-handed and I never knew that. Like, how crazy is that? I was like, she was like, yeah, you used to write with your left hand. That's why you do everything. And I'm like, oh, very handy to know that when you're like 35, you know.
Wow.
Like,
so are you going to try to use your left hand more now?
I kind of do here and there. Like I'm nowhere near as proficient as with my right hand, but I think it was crazy that like that was like secret that was hidden.
Learned. Yeah.
I kind of learned like a little bit late in life, but anyway, I'm gonna move real quick here through the paragraph styles because I know that we have. See if I can
10
do
minutes.
that. 10 minutes. Oh,
yeah.
Let's do this. Let's try to do this. If not, we got tomorrow, so that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And also we have the brand guidelines that help us so much. So I already know I took some notes. Again, my little, like, you know, they're all color coded as well, depending on what I'm doing. So
Sorry,
I got
Val.
color coded.
Val was like very handy. Yes.
Very left-handed.
Thank you, Val.
So I actually do. I'm not going to make it in 10 minutes now. I actually took note from the PDF of the point sizes as I say, tried it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right away into my paragraph styles, and clicking on the plus icon, I'm going to go ahead and start to create some paragraph because I want to show you the next style. Have you ever used next style, Alex?
Next style? No, I have not.
Okay, so let's try to make these happen.
I'm assuming that is a default if the person doesn't have the typeface. Is that correct?
Yes, it's super cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and real quick style this just because I want to give you the wow factor. And then tomorrow we're going to like worry about the content and the photos and a little bit more. So I know already that that's going to be at 28 again. And I'm taking this number from the guidelines. Feel free, of course, to, you know, try your own. So that's going to be our Secto Grotesque A in 28. And I'm going to click on OK. And then for my main topic here, for my main text, for the body copy, I'm going to go ahead and create a new paragraph. Double click on it. You can name it body copy. And I'm going to go a little bit fast, but as I say, we have tomorrow. So, you know, tomorrow we can talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to set my body copy to 18. And again, this is still on the Secto Grotesque. 18, and then we're going to give it also some space, which is going to give some space in between paragraph of the same line. So everything that is body copy will have a little bit of space here. I'm going to perhaps give it a 12 and then press OK. And then we have a third part of the paragraph here, which I called notes. And we're going to give it here a different font. So again, new paragraph styles. And I'm going to go ahead and select the Sanomat font, and I'm going to keep it at 18. Oops, here it is. Now, once we create our paragraph styles, we can go back and select, oops, I didn't name them. So This is going to be our note. What we want to do is to make sure that we select our paragraph style, and then here from the general tab, we select the copy, that the sort of style that is going to come after. So we know that we have name, body copy, and then notes. So here we are, the body copy is now going to be followed by a note, and I'm going to click on OK. Then I'm going to go under my name, the name one, and I know it's going to be followed by the body copy. And then after the note, we're going to have the name again. So we kind of like, this is really cool if you're working like on a lot of maybe question and answer or something that has like a repeating styling. And probably something that I want to do also is to make sure that my note has some space after. So it's going to give us some space. Maybe I'm going to give it like 20 pixels after the next paragraph. Perfect, just like so. Now, all you have to do in order to apply, the majority of people just try to go and apply the paragraph style again and nothing happens. And that's, you know, sometimes creates some confusion. All you have to do is to select the text frame and then head to the very first paragraph style that you want to apply. And you got to right click on it. And then from here, you can select apply, whatever is the style that you want to start with, and then the next style. And look what happens. Boom. All the text gets styled right away to whatever we wanted it in terms of style here. So what you want to make sure here is also that everything is splitted correctly in terms of returns. So if we head back into our preview mode, we see that those are the returns that will determine where the other paragraph style is applied to. And if it's not, you want to make sure that you fix that before you apply the paragraph style. So for example, I can see here that something went wrong with the name, and that's the way that it was supposed to go with the paragraph style. Don't worry, you can head back and do it again. Simply, again, select the text frame, and then you want to make sure that you select the first one and also apply the style, the next style, and clear any override. And here it is. In 1 second, we fixed the problem. And I don't know, we're doing in time.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, perfect. So that's going to give us some time also to work with these different columns here. So what I'm going to do here is to start to split and really take advantage of our little grid. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that our text frame takes the entire side of the page. And then I'm going to use the wonderful shortcut Command B. That's going to be Control B if you're working on Windows. And we're going to use to split that into different columns. We know that we're going to be showcasing the main wonderful 4 instructor. Of course, there is also Paolo we're going to do, which is the main instructor at the Rose Meditation. And the reason why I'm so personal with all of those, Alex, is also because they are my instructors. So I'm so grateful to all this wonderful technique that they use me. I don't know if I shared a link with you. I don't know if you had a look.
I did.
At the Rose, but it's like
incredible.
It's incredible. Like I feel so thankful to be with them. So anyway, let's jump into number 4 of columns. Make sure that you click on your preview to see that happening. And what you want to do here to really stick to your grid is to make sure that you set the gutter to 20, which was the same size as our grid. As you can see, the red sort of disappeared because we went exactly into the same size of our text. That will allow us to keep that breathing space between the columns, and then click on OK. And now what I'm going to do here is simply to add some breaks through the different paragraphs, just like so. And that will help us to keep our content split into columns. Now we see that the text frame is so much bigger than the other frame, so that the actual text, in order to make sure that everything keeps contained within the same, just for the height of the text, again, select your text frame and use the shortcut Option Command C, that's Alt Command C, and the text will be automatically kind of shrinked and put together here in the text. And then we're going to place here at the moment at the bottom of the page. And we have our team page sort of coming together. What I'm going to do now real quick is start to place some text, a rectangular frame for our images. But I guess then we're going to move into Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I think that's a great plan. I love little like editorial copy blocks like that are just really neat and tidy and concise like that.
I think especially when it's part of the same, topic, like the team or like a page, it just kind of keeps the things together. And again, here, if you don't know, if you don't know what I'm doing here, again, click and drag with the rectangle frame tool and then use your left and right arrow to add different frame within the same selection, right arrow to add and left arrow to subtract. And then we can also adjust that gutter, that space, making sure everything is nice and consistent by pressing the Command or Control key if you're working on Windows. And again, right will increase the space and left will reduce the space. So again, we make sure that we try to match the space of our column, just like so. And then whenever you are happy with your selection, just let go. And there it is. We have 4 perfect little frames there that will contain our images. By the way, if you're working and you haven't seen anything, it's because you're on preview mode. So make sure to hit that W key in order to see the preview, and there you'll see all the placeholder frames ready for you. So I think I'm going to stop here.
Yeah, I think you're at a really great starting point for tomorrow. I've consistently had my mind blown during this whole thing, and I'm very excited to change how I lay out my workspaces now. But I've had so much fun with you over the course of the last 2 hours, really. But chat, if you're really wanting more, stick around. We have more content coming up. After this is an XD DDC replay with replayed videos, but live chat. So stick around for that. And then after that is a draw along with Kyle Webster. And then make sure you come back tomorrow because we have more Kladi. We have more tips, more tricks, more cool things. Lots of really amazing things coming up. With that, Kladi, what do you want shouted out at the end?
Alex, before real quick, I just want to give a shout out because there is a Leica Pro tomorrow before this show. So make sure to tune in and join me for Leica Pro as well. We're going to be doing some social media images as well. And then you're back together.
Double the Kladi. That's all you need. Start your day off right, finish it strong. It's perfect. But
thank you so much, Alex. And thank you so much, everybody.
It was such a pleasure. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm very excited. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.